Hey everyone, and welcome back to card number 3, the final card in my December Fun Fold class. Thanks for joining me again. Thanks for bearing with me this long. Hasn't been an overly successful video session, I must say. Dad interrupting the first one, and then I mucked up the instructions for the second one. So I will make sure that I pop a warning, a health warning on the comments before I make these videos public, so hopefully it won't be too confusing for you. This is the final card, as I mentioned, final card in the tutorial. Thanks for purchasing it. Hopefully you'll be back for more in the future if you can see the quality of these cards, if not the quality of the tutorial. This one is what we call just checking my volume, apologies. This one is called a twisted easel. Basically for the reason you can see, it's an easel card in the fact that it butts onto this little sort of footrest here, but it's also twisted in the fact that it twists up like that. So you actually pop it in its envelope flat like that. It looks like a normal card, maybe a little bit lopsided, but when you put it on display, that's where it really comes to its fore, in that sort of orientation like that. So it sits up. It's a bit hard with the video as it is, but it sits up on its easel point like that on display. This one uses my favourite thing of all times, which is the Poinsettia Garden Dies, Poinsettia Petal bundle. I've used that one a lot this Christmas, and I'm hoping to keep using it because we've had some good news today, and it's back. It's going to be back next year in the catalogue, which is wonderful to know. So I don't have to pop that aside and not use it anymore. Okay, so let's get crafting. I'll just show you what you've got in your little bag. So this is a square card, so you're going to need a square-ish envelope for it. We've got various bits and bobs. We've got the silver leaves. We've got our poinsettia itself, which is here. So this poinsettia has 4 individual die-cut petals, layers of petals there, just like that. If you do have a look at your petals and you find that 1 or 2 of them may have slightly, I did see one here, a slightly dark spot on the edge, excuse me, just flake it off with your fingernail. It will just be something that's gone onto the die cut from the die itself. I think they probably shed a little bit of black when you put them through the die cut, but it will come off with your fingernail, so they should be perfect white. If they're not, give me a yell and I'll send you some new ones. You have some silver, a little spray of silver buds from the silver cardstock. You've got a little silver sort of what's that, 6-pointed sort of flowery thing. That's the insert, the inside for your poinsettia. You've got some leaves and another spray. So that cardstock is Smoky Slate. It's a lovely cardstock. It goes beautifully with the designer series paper that we're featuring in this one. This one is the this designer series paper is the Peony Garden designer series paper. It's absolutely my favourite thing in the whole world, with its petal pink on one side and lots of beautiful grey and you know, sort of lovely soft colours there. So you've got 2 triangles of that. Must be into triangles in this class. They're always that little bit different. You've got 2 triangles of our vellum, which I use to basically soften this pink even more, just to give it that beautiful soft appearance. You've got a couple of circles. You've got a scalloped circle in Petal Pink and a plain circle in Whisper White. So they are from the layered circle dies. Another couple of little die cuts there. That's the inside of the smallest petal from the poinsettia. We're using that as our little foot stop for our easel. You've got a sentiment box, which I've given you there, so for the sentiment you want. And then you've got your card base, which I'll go through in a second, plus a couple of layers of Petal Pink and Whisper White for inside. So we'll go straight to the card base. This one is and I've forgotten how big it is. I have to bring in my much maligned ruler, which has got sticky tape on the end of it at the moment. It's a 5-inch square, 5-inch squared card base. So it's basically a 10 by 5 piece of cardstock that I've scored in the middle. And with this one, you choose which side of the cardstock you want as the front. So this is the front, and then you score from the bottom to the top. And that gives you your lovely twist. So you can see that there. That's our twist for our easel at the front. So that's the front, bottom to top, or bottom down by the score to the top corner. And that's where you do your score for your easel. Okay, so if you've got that, we might do the inside again. We'll do the inside layers, get those out of the way. So we've got slightly smaller Whisper White, so we can do that first. Pop that onto our Petal Pink. Wiggle it around a bit with our wonderful glue, and then pop that onto the inside of our card. You can tell quite easily which part is the inside because that's the one that doesn't have the score halfway through the middle. There we are. Those colours just go so nicely together. I love those. The pink and the grey. Every bridesmaid's dress I've ever been forced into forever has been pink and grey. Anyway, cool. So that's the inside done there. So let's do the front of our card. This is what we've got all our triangles for. Obviously you wouldn't want to cover the whole piece with designer series paper without the gap in the middle, because when you fold it, it would scrunch up and not be nice. So we've got 2 triangles of the designer series paper. And if you bought the paper version of this class, you've got a whole packet of this paper to play with. All the papers that I've featured in this class I've also offered for sale with the class as well. So if you've bought that version of the class, I hope you enjoy playing with your paper after you finish. And there we go on the other one. So we're just going to line these up with their sort of natural positions on the card front. Yeah. No sign of my father since he came and stole those tree branches out of my front yard. I'll have to pop along and see what weird and wonderful thing my mother has come up with her Christmas decorations. I have a feeling they will be sprayed gold, whatever they are, and have things hanging off them. That's usually her Christmas style. Okay, with these pieces of vellum, you could use glue. I don't tend to use glue with the vellum. I tend to use double-sided tape or snail. So I'm going to use snail adhesive with this, and the only reason being is that you can see here, I hope you can see with my original, I've used glue here, and you can actually see a dark line, a dark sort of imprint of the glue behind the vellum. So yeah, try to avoid that by using some sort of drier adhesive. So just using a bit of snail or double-sided tape, or as I say, if you don't mind the line, you can use the glue as well. And pop those on there. So there is quite a large gap around the edge, but I think that's probably quite nice. You do see the true colour of the paper around the edges. Snailed onto my bench there. And let's pop that on here. Only downside with the snail is that it doesn't have any give. It doesn't allow you to wiggle after you're done. Okay, so there we are with the, and I've moved up a little bit, haven't I? There we are with our with the front of our card. Here we are. Cool. Okay, so now let's get with the fun bit. We get to our beautiful poinsettia here. What I'm going to do is assemble the flower first. So you get the 4 layers of your poinsettia. And what I tend to do, if you haven't seen me with my videos of these poinsettias before, I just pop the flower between my thumb and my finger and press down so that you get, because they've got this beautiful embossed vein through them, So I just give that a bit of a curve up, following the natural line of the vein, so that they look a little bit more natural. I have seen people curl them up and down like that. That's probably okay as well. So if you grab a bone folder or a pair of something like that that you use to curl your flowers, you know, whatever way you want to curl them, that's fine. You could leave them flat too. Not a problem. Okay, so there's that one. And this one's just a bit tiny, so I just give it a tiny little tweak between my fingernails. Cool. Okay, we'll pop that aside, that card base aside for a minute, and we'll just glue our layers together. So just a dab of glue in the centre of the big one, and then add the next one, and just sort of turn them so that the leaves are don't line up perfectly, so that they peek out from behind each other. And then the same with this one. Same with this one. Yeah, and we're just going to pop our tiny little one just smack bang in the middle. There we go. Isn't that just so pretty? And what you can probably do now is get your little insert and pop some glue on the back of that and pop that in the centre. And that just gives it that little bit of little bling in the middle. There we are. Okay, so just looking at my original here so I don't go terribly wrong like I have in some of the other videos today. What we're going to do then is bring our card in, and you can glue your poinsettia just straight to your card like that, or you can pop it up on a dimensional. I'm going to pop mine up on a dimensional just to give it a bit of height. Well, it's got quite enough dimension as it is really. So what you're going to do, the positioning of this is quite important. When it's flat, it's got to obviously be, it'll look like a normal old card. When it's up, you want that poinsettia to sort of be in a half on that surface and half overlapping, so you get a bit of interest in that. So what you actually want to do is put the centre of your poinsettia on this triangle, but only just on that triangle, just so it's just on the lower half of the card. With the dimensional, it's probably even more important. So just about there. So when you open it up, as I say, you see the leaves sort of overflowing or overlapping the edge of the card. So hopefully that's obvious, that's easy for you to understand. Then what we're going to do is bring in our leaves and our sprays. I actually give the leaves a little bit of a curl as well, just the same as our petals, just to give them a little bit of natural appearance. Just pop a little bit of glue on the back and just pop them up behind. And again, you want them glued to this lower half, but actually overlapping the top half a little bit, just so you get that interest. So pop one down there, one up the top, and then this grey one, I'm actually going to pop him in behind there. Okay, that makes sense. So they're actually glued. Oh, that might be easier to show you that back end. So they're actually glued onto the lower triangle, but they overlap the top triangle. Hopefully that makes sense there when you can see the back of it there. So don't put any glue on that area, because then when you fold it flat, it's going to stick, and you don't want it to stick. Okay, there we are. So when it's open, it's going to look like that. Like that. Okay, so we've got only a couple more things to do. Oh, we've got some sprays. So our silver and smoky slate spray. And actually, you find with these sprays, if you pop them in as they are, they're actually a little bit, oh no, that one's okay. Sometimes they're a little bit too long, so you trim off the edge if it's a little bit too long, but I suppose it depends how close to the edge you've popped your poinsettia. So pop him in anywhere you want, but I'm going to pop him there. And then I'm going to bring the silver one in at the same place, or just a little bit further down. So he is a little bit long, so I might just chop him off a little bit, because you don't want them to overlap the edge of the card too far, or you're not going to be able to get it into your envelope. We'll just pop him there. There we are. And waste not, want not, this little bit that I've got left over, I'll just pop him in under there. So how's that? So that's quite pretty, isn't it? So that's the look that we're going for when the card is open. Just something like that. And that's how it looks when it's closed. Okay, what we're going to do now is our sentiment. So you've got a little bit of a sentiment box here. I have used the congratulations. I sort of envisioned this card as a wedding card, or you could do it as a birthday, but I sort of envisaged my version as a wedding or a anniversary. It'd be nice as an anniversary or something like that. Not necessarily Christmas, because the poinsettia is, as I say, it's just a lovely flower to be used all the time. So I'll just get my congratulations here. And again, some black ink. You could use the grey. If you've got the Smoky Slate at home, you could use that. I think that would be lovely and soft. I'll just use this one. I'll line it up as best I can. There we are. So as I say, that you could have a happy birthday, whatever sentiment you feel. And I mean, you don't even have to use the box I've given you. If you've got a different size sentiment that you want to cut a different box to, then that's fine as well. I have just bannered the end of mine just with the pair of scissors. So I cut in the centre down a couple of millimetres, and then come in from the corners to that cut. And that's a nice, quick, easy way to banner. So I've just made a little banner there like that, just a little insert. And then what you're going to do is bring your sentiment in and sort of nuzzle it up under there, just like that. I'm going to use dimensionals for that as well, or foam squares, whatever you use at home. And don't put it too close to that end, because you'll have trouble with it when you've got your card open. You really want just your dimensionals. As with all your adhesives, you just want all your adhesives on this half. And the foam squares are no different. Just keep your foam squares on this half of the card so it doesn't cause a problem when it's trying to be opened. And I'm just going to pop the end of that sentiment up under this petal, and then lay it back along like that. Okay, so then that looks like that when it's open. Yeah. Hopefully you like that. Okay, so only one thing to do. Oh well, you've got a sentiment inside. You could pop a sentiment in there. These are the moments we look back on with joy. So that's why I was saying, carrying on the theme of a wedding or an anniversary or an engagement or something. These are the moments we look back on with joy, is part of this Peaceful Moment set as well. As I say, lovely all-round sentiment. So we might pop our little easel foot on first. So pop your white circle, glue it onto your serrated petal pink circle, just like that. And then with your two leftover little flowers, you've got a silver one and a white one, just pop those onto the circle as well. Just, I've put mine sort of off centre, but still on the circle, pretty much on the circle completely. Just like that. Normally with an easel card you would actually have a sentiment on that little, on this little circle. You'd have a sentiment there, but this one I think I just like it with the two little flowers. It makes it something a little bit different. So grab some dimensionals again, or some foam squares, pop your circle onto those, and as I say, this is going to ensure that your card doesn't fall forward when it's on display. So decide where or how high you would like your card to sit. If you're happy for it to sit quite low, you can bring your little foot forward. If you'd like it to sit quite high, you bring it back a little bit. So I'm just going to pop it about there, and that will stop my card from falling forward, just like that. Okay. Just make sure you can see that properly. Yeah, cool. There we are. Right, last thing to do is to put that sentiment on, and I did that last because, excuse me, I wanted to position it correctly so that it's hidden, or sort of hidden when you're looking at the card from the front angle. So I want it popped up in here somewhere. So we'll use the same one. These moments we'll look back at on with joy. If I can remember it, is that the one? Yep, these are the moments. This is. And just some black ink. As I say, you could use the grey or the pink if you'd like that as well, or a grey or a pink. And I'll pop that up on its top left hand corner. There we are. Now, where would you write in this card? I suppose you could write anywhere really, as long as you don't mind it showing when it's on display like that. Or you could pop a little sentiment box up in here and write in there, which would work as well. Or pop a sentiment box on the back and it would work as well, doubly as well. But there we are. That's our third card for this Fun Fold class. I hope you enjoyed that one. I think that's also a favourite. I gave a very similar one, obviously not with congratulations, but a very similar one to my mum for her birthday this year. And she absolutely loves it, loves having it on display for everyone to see. So really, really happy with that one. I like both of those. That's the third class, the third card. So thanks again for taking this class. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it enough to come back and do some more at some later stage. I'll be having more classes in January, yet to decide what to do. We've got a whole new catalogue coming in January, so I'm sure there'll be a world of things that we can, of new designs to discover. So thanks again for doing this class, and I will see you all next time. Thanks a lot.